Ladies and gentlemen, I have 7 o'clock. I call this meeting of the General Government and Public Safety Committee to order. No attendance has been taken. You rise and
ain't here yet.
pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comments from citizens. No? Okay. Hearing none, moving on to public safety. Fire department, there is an activity report in your packet. Anything to point out, Denny?
We've been a little, calm and normal. Truck man, we've had to do a few new batteries, 3 batteries the other day for trucks that decided not to start. Other than that, they can ride 2-3 times a day.
Smoke from bad cooking.
I don't know if that was bad cooking, I think. Yeah, was that the Chance Company?
Jefferson Street,
Uh,
442 South Jefferson.
That's a Chance Company fourplex,
Yeah.
whatever you wanna call it. Them guys have little bitty stoves like this inside there, and the vent for the stove is in the back burner. I mean, these are old looking little stoves.
I heard about that.
And he was just cooking, I think he was doing french fries or something, but the person before him apparently didn't clean out the bottom of the stove. So, and them things are really, really touchy over there. I mean, sometimes the heater will kick them on and stuff. That's how touchy they are, so. But they're right outside the door of the heater, so.
And most of the people who live in them are college students, co-ops, or interns, so they don't have the life experience to know that they should check some of these things.
That can be fun.
This is a learning experience.
You know, we found.
That's all part of being an intern.
Yes.
Yeah.
Them stoves are, that's a different stove in there. It's really, it's only like not much bigger than that.
Wow.
That deep, that vents out through the back left-hand burner. That's how it vents out, the heat gets out. There's no hood above it, no nothing.
wow.
It's just out in the wide blue under. They smoke them up pretty good too.
Anything else for our department?
Went good.
Moving on to police department, activity reports in your packet. Anything you want to point out?
I don't believe so. We'll cover the UTV here in a minute.
Gotcha. Any questions on the activity report? Comments? Moving on to other, proposed UTV ordinance and permit fee.
Okay.
Tell us what you think. It's like-
All right. If you read the very top of the header of the proposed ordinance, it includes all terrain vehicles. I never had intention of ATVs being included in this ordinance. UTVs and golf carts only, or supposed to be vehicles, whatever you call them. ATVs, I'm not sure where it was that it came into this ordinance, and Heather and I have talked about it.
Sydney said that if UTV or ATVs are addressed in a different section, saying that they're not allowed under certain, they're only allowed under certain circumstances. So I think that's why they're included in this, so that if they are allowed under certain circumstances, they would also be permitted. They would have to have a permit.
That's not how the public's gonna read that, you know that, right?
Yes. We can take it out.
Can we strike it out in this one and pass it anyway?
Well, we won't pass this tonight. This is just for information, so it'll be passed next week.
So the edit can.
We can edit it.
I guess my question to you is, was that the intention of the council also? Because that's like I said, that was my intention was.
It doesn't hurt my feelings if you take ATVs out.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
just for clarification,
Yeah.
ATV would be a saddle type of vehicle, correct?
Run by handlebars.
Yeah, versus the UTV, which is
Correct.
side by side. or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I remember reading some of the other stuff, it was flat out excluded, so we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take that out.
So So do you want Cindy to strike that out of of that proposed ordinance? Is that what you're saying?
Doesn't hurt my
That
feelings.
would be my suggestion.
I think,
Yeah.
I think she should make the
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any other issues with that ordinance?
No, it reads fine otherwise, as far as
Okay.
I'm
All
concerned.
right, I do have one concern. In a previous one, there was something in there about Anchor Fest and other things for special
And
activities.
that is covered in the subsection of golf carts and stuff, I believe. I've seen it.
That didn't change, we're not
That did
changing
not-
that
that
part
part of it did not
Well, I didn't see it in here, that's why I said.
That,
Yeah, no, it's
that
not
is
in this
that
one.
is a separate ordinance from
Yeah.
that one, and it's still during special events that we can do those.
Okay,
Yes.
I did notice one misspelling in there, well, not misspelling. If you go down to the bottom of the first page, paragraph C, second sentence says P roof. I think it should be proof.
Ah,
P
you're
roof.
probably right. I think I did
We'll
notice that, I
change
just
that one.
forgot about it. The ATV thing threw me off for that, so.
As long as the other is in there, you know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be the other one.
it's already in ordinance, it's already there. So.
Just wanted to make sure of that. Other than that, I didn't have any issues with it. I thought, like I say, was wondering where all the ATVs came from, but.
Yeah, yeah, well, I was like you, I read it the first time, and I'm like, that's not what I meant.
Do you have a list of the safety things that you would be inspecting on these?
I made up a checklist, I took about 4 or 5 different ones from different cities,
Okay.
and made up one, sent it to Sydney, and it, and sent it to Sydney to check the language and everything else, and she was fine with it, she said it's not a problem at all. Because part of it is the release of the city and its employees from, by issuing this permit, that was part of the permit, or the checklist.
I would suggest that we see that as part of this, not that we're passing it as part of the ordinance, but just for information.
Oh, I'll send it to y'all, that's not a problem at all. Like I said, I sent it to Sydney, and then, of course, everything else went crazy, so. But yeah, I'll email it to y'all if you want.
Anything else on the ordinance? Moving on to emergency management. Nothing?
I don't think so. Have we talked since we did our walkthrough with Lincoln Brown on the Montana East Railroad? I don't know.
He had some final paperwork that he was gonna finish up, and I think he was gonna have that mailed in by last Friday.
Okay, I didn't know if we had talked to the board since we did our final walkthrough, or if we said we were getting ready to.
You said you were getting ready to.
We did do the walkthrough. It's very interesting. I've not been in that building before, and I don't intend to go back in it.
Yeah,
It's very dangerous, but, you
Is it
took some
cleaned up?
pictures?
a lot of the stuff was
Never mind.
Define
taken out of
cleaned
it,
up.
yes.
You would have to have a frame of reference from prior to.
Yeah, yeah.
What's my baseline
So-
here?
Well, from the last time I was in it, 2 or 3 years ago, till last week, it's, very much cleaned up.
Okay.
So, all that, all the vehicles were out, there were still a couple of lawnmowers that were, still
Various
in there.
stages of
Various,
disrepair?
yes.
So we're very close to being able to go out for bid on that project.
And our wishes, and he says it's very doable that, we could have it down before Anchor Fest.
That's the goal.
So that's the goal, to get it down before Anchor Fest.
And years ago, I believe it was 2017, we did the RFP for the asbestos
Mhm.
inspection, and so I contacted that company, and they're still going to do it. We're just working on the contract. We have to make sure that has a CDBG language in it, and then we'll get that taken care of soon.
Yep.
Anything for protective inspection?
Just wanted to report that at the end of 2018, we had 37 single-family dwelling permits. And I'll have a report next week, or I can do it next week or next month, either way, from Boone County about the number of permits and each type of permit that we did for 2018, that we issued.
Thank you. Under government and finance, economic development. Meeting notes from the chamber and their agenda for tomorrow's meeting. Any questions or comments? moving on to Park Board. So we've got an agenda for the meeting notes. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, declaring park truck surplus property.
We were looking for the information on this specific truck, and we believe the park department may have it. But this is a white, early 2000s Chevrolet pickup. It's not running. It's sitting out of the old landfill site, and we would just like to declare it surplus property so that we can dispose of it. We do need a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Cemetery report, no?
No.
Okay. Library board, agenda for the meeting. Questions or comments? January 2019 financial statements, information's in your packet. Is there anything you want to point out?
No.
So anyway, this can be put on the page, so it's kind of centered, but
You can try, yeah. I don't know why it's printed like
I don't know
that.
why I did
Because
that.
it doesn't print that way.
Hmm.
But yeah, we can order that.
Mine always does that way, I assume the others do too.
And the numbers all the way to the
All the
left
way to the left.
Are they cut off?
side. It starts out with the 03.
Yeah, I mean, the zero is partially, but I mean, it's there,
Okay.
you enough to read it.
We can order it.
Other comments on financials? Bills over $1,250.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I forgot that I put this on the board. Right before the bills over $1,250, everyone had, or several people had asked about our sales tax revenues, and so I did a comparison for the last several years. So that memo is in your packet. It really does not look like we're actually above where we were last year, we're below where we were the year before, 2017, so some concern had been that once CNR left, our sales tax revenue was going to,
Plummet a little bit.
yes, but it does not look like it has.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Any questions on AP? Any other general government?
Everyone has a copy of a letter from Janet Thompson, District 2 Boone County Commissioner. She's talking about the bicentennial for Boone County, so really just wanted to give it to you all for your information, so if you had any ideas that we could submit, and so that we can be part of this puzzle piece that they're putting together. Just let me know, let her know, we can.
They're looking for something like, maybe a mural or something like that, a copy of our mural and,
No,
No,
they're doing a puzzle of the county,
okay.
and of various entities, but then I'm assuming it's by township, but I don't know.
Okay.
And each of these will have something representing that township, and it will all be put together to be on display in Columbia for the bicentennial, and then after that, the pieces will go to different areas.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get to display our piece of the puzzle.
Are they wanting to help with funding that, Don?
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Each piece costs about $1,800, and they are asking for help funding that, so, I'm sure they're looking for any types of donations.
I could take a guess as to why you asked me that, but I've been to one of the meetings. But yes, my name is on there.
It's even on top.
Yes, I noticed that. I think you're
It's
alphabetical. It could have gone in reverse alphabet, it would have been fine with me.
Any other? As may rise.
Quick question, I don't know if, I've had some questions about that, church that's on Swiftler. Right there, right to the south of D&D Tire. We know where we're at with that.
So,
I don't know the Maranatha.
Yeah, I mean, every time I drive by that, it looks like it's a little bit more.
The
state
last-
disrepair.
The last I knew was when Merritt was still contacting the owners,
Yeah.
to try to get a hold of.
The problem is that nobody knows who the owners are,
Right.
who the current trustees for the church are.
Yeah.
The church is defunct,
Right,
so they're trying to get hold of the last trustees or their heirs and see if they can get something done.
yeah,
And tracking them down has been, the last I heard was, he was having very little luck, tracking anybody down. I don't know what we need to do in that.
yeah, I don't know what we need to do.
I mean,
here.
it's not a matter-
obviously an abandoned,
It was a church, so it's tax exempt, so
So you
you can't get them on
so it's not
non-payment of
taxable,
taxes,
yeah.
and sell it that way.
are you,
It
let
just
me,
becomes
let
problem.
me, you're talking about the church on Railroad, not on Switzerland.
no,
No.
it's on Swissler,
It's
just south of
D&D.
D&D Tire.
What's the last thing you told me?
Oh, okay. Never mind, I'm there. The one's got a little something on the
Yeah,
road. I got you.
Big
I'm there.
iron pile right now or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, I know what you're talking about now.
I mean, it's something we probably ought to have Cindy look at a little bit, but,
yeah,
Merritt was trying to track down owners and was having very, very little luck at it.
I think Matt was doing some work on it too for a while. I
Yeah.
They have been.
He left
It's hard saying where it's at then.
You don't know where we're at on that.
He might have left a file.
We might
I'll see
own
if
it.
I can find the file.
I appreciate it.
Here, let's go do it.
We might, he might bought it.
Matt's not even be a preacher.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something that,
Six position.
I mean, we'll have that
Street.
city, like declare it an abandoned property and it's not, no ownership, no anything, I don't know how to
We
do
can
that.
definitely see what we.
Well, I mean, if it's in bad enough shape, we can always condemn it, and
Well, I
the
think-
city could take it over at that point. My suspicion is, if the city were to condemn it, nobody would contest it.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too, but, I don't know.
But those would be a matter of asking what we can and can't do on that.
Yeah,
Any other estimate raise? Have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Have a motion, do I hear a second?
Yeah.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
yeah.
Aye. All those opposed, we stand adjourned.
Anybody need a break?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'll open the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee meeting. Anybody want to make a comment about this committee meeting? Any public?
Just a spot in the chair.
All right, moving on to Public Works. The activity report in their packet also.
I just want to say that, I've had a lot of comments from citizens about what a good job the city crews did last week, or last 2 weeks. Clearing the roads and getting the power back on quickly and stuff like that, so thank the crews for the good work that they've done. Yeah.
Phil, anything you want to highlight on that?
Pretty much last month was snow removal and equipment maintenance.
Because of snow removal?
Most of the time, yes.
One thing led to the other.
No, it went pretty good. Pretty much everybody was newbies to some of a big snow like that, and they all jumped right in and picked it up quick and did a good job. So, it went pretty good.
You had a lot of piles of snow around.
Yes. They are finally melting over the park.
Are you finding anything that you lost?
There's a few things in there that probably people have lost. Seen some car parts,
Oh,
Valve box lids.
yeah,
well, that's what I was, the,
concrete, rock.
Donnie had asked about how we were doing on salt, and we are not.
Not,
We've had salt ordered for a month and they are out. Everybody's calling, trying to find salt, and everybody's out, so. We were sure that we're up towards the top of the list, and I'm sure everybody's hearing that, but it'll be here when it gets here, is kind of where we're at with that, so.
Kind of like check it in the mail.
Yeah.
we've cut back on our salt and we're loading real heavy on our calcium chloride. We've got plenty of that, so we're just loading real heavy. make up for it. Try to stretch the salt out.
I told Bill and Heather that we had checked with the groundhog to confirm forecast, but we haven't heard back from that, so.
We will be groundhog hunting next week. Anyway. Open game.
Any other questions or comments for Phil on his activity report? Moving on to item B, streets, we have a proposed north intersection drawing for Randolph Road.
And that file was too big to be in the packet, so that came out separately, but Mike does have color copies here. This is really just a follow-up from our meeting last week to show in color what the intersections would look like if we went with the proposed plan, or if we did not do anything and left the intersection as is. So here we have it here. This is the plan right now to true up the intersection and make it a more four-way stop. And this is what it would look like if we did not do that. So those are your two options for this intersection.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that, or opinions?
Well, I was the one that brought some of this to Heather's attention. And the meeting was really about trying to decide and do some things to make, to cheapen this project to the point where we could actually afford it. It's my belief that we need to go forward with this project for two reasons. One is we did make a promise to the guy that bought to Chris Fink, when he bought that property out there, that we would put this road in. And the second reason is that this is economic development. And in the past, we have been in favor of economic development. We spent $6,000 a year on credit for quite a few years. We got zero return on our money for that.
We got a little bit.
We got nothing for our money. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily Craig's fault. Economic development is kind of a hit and miss thing, and there's no guarantees to it. But we did put in a lot of money that over about 10 years, at $6,000 a year, and we really got nothing for it. And like I say, I'm not necessarily blaming Craig for that. It's just kind of the way economic development works. Putting this road in would make this a shovel-ready site. When people are looking for sites to build, they aren't looking for a site that they can build on, in 5 years or so when the utilities and the streets get extended. They're looking for a site that's available now. This is one thing that we can do. This is probably the only thing we can do to open up an area that's already zoned properly. It's got sewer, it's got water, it's got electric. So if we open this area up, the return will be that, and there will be a return on this. Timing is the question. We don't know how quickly it'll be a return, but eventually somebody will build out there, and it's the industrial and commercial that pays the bills for this city. Everybody pays taxes, and we all think we pay our fair share, but if you look at it on an individual basis, nobody pays their fair share. That's supplemented by what we charge and what we tax businesses and industry. So if we can attract businesses and industry, it helps us keep the cost down to individuals as to what we pay in taxes to take care and maintain our streets, pay our police department and our fire department. Those are the kinds of things that happen, but we have to have the businesses in order to support this, in order to keep our taxes low as individuals. So I think this is really a no-brainer to go forward with it. But we've already realized, we've seen the prices on what they gave us on preliminary stuff. The idea is, let's reduce the cost of this, do what we have to do and what we can do now in order to make this thing go forward.
Part of what Don had brought up too was the original design was not right on the center line. The center of the road is not on the center line. Now they did have that off-centered so that we didn't have to move the utilities at a later date. We have that overhead utility line. They were trying to stay out of that. So really their suggestion would be for us to decide what we're going to do with this road. And if at a later date we want to have to move those utilities, then we need to move the design so that the road is right on the center line. But if we are really looking towards the future and we don't think that we want to move those utilities, we need to kind of.
Well, I don't know that we need to move them, but if we move it over, we don't hurt those utilities. You know, because the main thing is that power line in there. There's no sewer or water in there that's gonna hurt anything at this point. There is at the north end and at the south end, but those are gonna have to be dealt with at some point anyway.
That was the engineer's answer. I'm just telling you all what the engineers have said, so.
But if we move
But if you, moving, where they've got it designed is 5 feet to the east side of the section line. You gotta straighten it back out in order to meet the road going north. So you go 5 feet too far to the east, and then you bring it 5 feet back, and you put a little jog in the road. I'm gonna tell you that if people are driving down that, they're gonna wonder who was drunk, whether it was the engineer or the contractor when they see this.
I don't think there will be that much of a difference from a 5-foot little slog in the road.
You'll see it.
I see the difference between
And
South
you're paying
Allen
for
here,
an
that's
extra
like
10
like
feet.
30 feet.
You're an extra 5 feet out and an extra 5 feet back, you're paying for that much more street. Why do we need to pay for it if we don't need it in the first place?
So can we build a road without moving any utilities?
Yes,
Yes.
That's a final answer.
With the, on the center line,
right. If we use the center line as the section line, that gets us further away from that power line and keeps us completely out.
we'll have to move some on the south end probably, if we put it on the center line.
The engineer's
No, the
explanation for
south end
that
isn't on the center line anyway.
was so we didn't have to take more right of way.
Yes, that was also.
But they've also got a ditch in there, a 4-foot deep ditch, that if we take that out, which is not necessary to have it in there, then taking that extra right of way, that ditch is gonna take up a lot more than any extra right of way would. You're only talking about an extra 5 feet of right of way, that ditch is gonna take up 20 feet or more. It's 4 feet deep, and if you talk about 3-to-1 slopes, 4 times 3 would be 12, that'd be 24 feet. That's a whole lot more damaging to the value of that property than what taking an extra 5 feet of right of way would be in lining that thing up.
The city code, we declare what ditches need to be where and how deep, right?
No, it's not in any C codes.
Who declares that?
This was the engineer's idea that we should take care of a problem that doesn't really exist in my opinion.
Their plan for the big ditches was to get dirt for the road.
There are other ways of doing it. They can lower the whole road at the ends so that they can get more dirt to fill in where the low
And
area
that's
is.
what he said, if we take out some of the culverts that Mike and I had talked to him about at the north end, he wouldn't have to
Yeah.
bring the road up, he could take it all back down, which would get rid
I
of the
mean, he says it's
ditches.
at a 1% slope now. That can be flattened out some. We've got roads in town that are 0.5%. I certainly don't suggest anything less than 0.5%.
No.
Even 0.5% is marginal.
But we could lower it at either end of the water lines, right?
Well, the south end has to be lowered because you're coming off the
South
highway.
end's already lowered.
Yeah, but if we lower the street anymore, then we might have to lower the water line, gas
We'll
line.
have enough cover to go over the.
I think we'll still, depending on how much he's talking, we allowed, I think, an extra 3 feet down there for that purpose, not knowing exactly what would be done.
But the north end,
Mhm.
North end, I don't think we're gonna have to do too much there, water line wise. And electric, he's moved it from one side of the road to the other now. That's what he's showing. The only thing is, like Phil was saying, those drains, to get that 5 foot, what he figured out by his measurement here. He's still got those on the map. We're not gonna be doing those. We checked it with the rain that we've had the last couple of days. It's not pooling right there, so I think with a little more ditching, it for sure will run to the west. And this, on the other road, will go towards the north.
Yeah.
I mean, they're draining from the other side of the road with these ditches, and it's not draining there now. Why would we want to do this and take 25 feet out of that property down there with a ditch?
It's kind of difficult to force water to go where it doesn't want to go.
So, I mean, you could do it with the way he's doing it, but you're solving a problem that doesn't exist.
The engineer was fine with taking those out. He said that as long as they did some,
Yeah.
work with the ditches to the north, it was not to take those out.
Yeah.
Really, this is just all for your information. I've talked to several people that have said, well, we thought we were doing the 38-foot wide street with curb and gutter up through Remington. That was not what was voted on. That's not the option that was voted on. However, if you all want to vote on that next week, to be an option, like an alternative,
That's what I
in
had.
the bid.
Yes,
And Dawn did suggest that, so, if that's what you all wanna do, I do think that we need a vote on that, because the vote was for option 4, which is just the 24-foot wide street, no curb and gutter.
now,
So-
what they were gonna design, as of this last time, was they were gonna design a 24-foot street. If we ever would expand this out to a 38-foot street, which is what our city ordinance says it should be, then we would need new engineering. Somebody would have to redesign this to get those curb and gutters in there in the future. What I would like to see is that we have a design for a 38-foot street. We're going to bid it as a 24-foot street now, with the options of being bid of 38-foot at the south end and 38-foot at the north end as separate options. We'll see what the bids come in. If they come in low enough, hey, maybe we can do the whole thing. If the bids don't come in low enough, we go with the 24-foot street.
We voted on the 24-foot.
And that's what we voted on,
Yeah.
yes.
That is what we voted on, that's what.
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't put those others in as design options that we can do if the bids come in low enough.
Just on the prints, that's what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah, just on the prints, so we don't have to redo the prints down the road.
because otherwise we're gonna pay for new engineering plans later on, and why should we do that? We've already paid, we're paying for this, this is the second time we're paying for this design. I certainly don't wanna pay for it a third time.
It's all good discussion. Any other? Ready to move on? Bill, anything for sanitation? Anything for stormwater?
Lots of water. You can thaw that a little.
Supposed to be 55 Thursday.
Not getting much percolation right now.
No, no, it's just sitting right where it falls.
Moving on to other, we have a bid for concrete. Mike, you wanna talk about this?
Yeah, these are the two type, mixes that Phil orders, and they're pretty basically set up between all three. Central Concrete comes in the lowest, and you'll notice that there's a increase the 1st of April. They all have that down, and Central Concrete's comes in the lowest. This year contract, we were getting such wide variation on our bids. I mean, one load would come in, we were right at $120, next one would be $140 for the same thing. And it depends a lot on, of course, what you add and everything, and the time of year has a lot to do with that too, of course. So this way it's all spelled out, and this is what it'll be for a year on this. City of Columbia's been doing this for a couple of years, and it's worked out well for them, so.
I think it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, does it, if we got a project going, and does it mean we're stuck with Central Concrete if they're busy? Or do we?
That's a good question, because I asked if we had a big project going, and it was bid out. And as a contractor doing the job, most of the time, they're the ones that get the prices. So, in that case, that would be their price that they would be getting, so I would say it wouldn't be a problem. They're gonna deal with whoever they get it from. So, you do another road like, say out here, if we did that all concrete, it may come out cheaper because of the amount and the people doing it. I mean, they get pretty good prices.
Right.
They're in the city a lot of times.
Sometimes the price is secondary to being able to get it right now.
Yeah.
But yes, if it's part of the, there's two ways of doing these contracts. We can take the concrete out of it and say that we would pay for that ourselves, and then we don't pay a markup to the contractor for it. But they get a pretty good deal when they do big jobs, so it may be more beneficial to actually let them bid it as part of their contract. Usually it will be.
Most contractors get a better price.
They'll get a better price than we will, because they're ordering larger volumes than what we normally order, and that's what this bid is based on. smaller volumes.
So what's your recommendation, Mike?
I would think Central Concrete, we've used them, I know water, that's what we always use for water, I know Phil's used them before too. Phil's used Audrain and hadn't had a problem with them.
Audrain, Mobley, yeah, we used.
Whoever we normally get, I think you'll be fine with any of these, so.
So is that any central plant? I mean, central plant owns quite a few
Right.
plants. You get that price at any of them. You
Right.
can eat Moberly,
Well,
Mexico.
it's the same way with Audrain, it's actually a branch of
Yeah.
it, but we'll get that price.
Says Columbia.
That's why I don't understand why they're not the same price.
I talked to Rob and he said you need to do all of them individual because they all have different standards and what the mix they get.
So that won't limit us to just getting it from Central?
Depending on, I think Jim's question, I think they might come in and help if we got from Audrain a load because Central couldn't get here. But it's still gonna be at these prices. I think that's where we're going with that.
So you want, this needs a motion?
I would think, yes.
Or does somebody want to
So
make a
moved.
motion?
Is it, actually entering into a contract with them?
So we might need an ordinance on Monday.
If it's a contract, we'll need an ordinance for that.
I mean,
Is it a contract or is it just accepting their bid for a period of time?
This would be for a year's time, so I would think it'd be called a contract.
Well, you have direction there.
so we'll
Do
do
you
that
have an
ordinance.
ordinance, or do you just need a resolution for it?
Well,
We'll
for
do
us,
an
city.
ordinance, but we'll have something ready for next Monday.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday.
Yes, next Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Any other for Public Works? Moving on to Water and Sewer Department. You have an activity report, Matt, anything you'd like to highlight on that?
Just dealing with the cold spells and hauling meters out. Other than that, we had a pretty good luck during the real cold spells, so didn't have a whole lot of problems on our end, a lot of customer side stuff. Had one leak that we fixed on Tidball due to a boring company. I know that's news to you, but they had a water service and maybe they hit it and left it, so we dealt with that. Other than that, it's been pretty
Do we bill them for those hours?
Yeah, I believe so.
We bill them for material too.
We'll bill for everything.
So they didn't bother to tell you about the,
Nope, the customers called right at 4 o'clock and said that they took the meter jar off and looked at it and then they left. So we went over there and checked it and they definitely hit the service line. And had to have known they hit it because they hit it with their backhoe bucket and the boring machine, so they really got it twice.
Wow.
That's nice,
Yeah, stand up people.
I can't believe the weather they've been working in. They've been working out there when it was frozen and raining and.
huh? Any other, comments on the activity report?
No,
Anything for water? Moving on to sewer, we have a proposed sewer rate increase. We having a public hearing tonight?
No, this is really just,
Next week.
just to let, it's actually in March, because you have to give at least 30 days notice, so. Just letting you all know that that's happening. For the sewer rate increase, we have to do a public hearing, water rate, we do not.
but before this is all done, we'll be increasing the water rates too.
Yes. And, so, this is just really for your information. But it's part of the planned increases, for the next couple of years.
What did we base what we're raising rates to, what's that based off of? We went from this amount to this amount, is that where we should be, or
Right,
is that around the community, or how is that based on? If somebody were to say, why are we raising it this amount?
I think it was a combination of things, but, whenever they reviewed the rates, before we went out for the bond issue, we decided that in order to pay for everything that we need to pay for, we needed to do 5% each of these years.
Well, this isn't 5%,
I'll have to look at it, maybe
this
it's
is
2.5.
50%.
Yeah, that's what, it's almost, yes, what, it's kind of a chunk,
I'll have to look at it.
unless this is right, you go from 880 to 1320.
That's a pretty
It's
significant.
not like a
Maybe
halfway
it is.
somewhere we
I looked
skip.
at it, it's 50%.
Yeah.
Is that
I'll
for
look
this
at-
year's the final
Might have
year?
put a decimal point in the wrong spot.
Maybe,
The bank did this to me, I'd be going, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Only if it was,
This might be
only if
what
it was
we
on the rates we were
reported on
paying,
it.
not if it was on the rates we were receiving.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's a good thing you guys reviewed this before we got on the paper, so I'll read it up tomorrow.
And does that account for what we might have to do in raises and stuff too? Is some of that figured into this?
This is based on, I'll have to look at the paperwork, because this is pulled from the bond issue.
I know we're way behind everybody, I do know that, so.
But we might wanna figure a little more in some of this, because we are gonna have to do something with some of our wages.
Right. Well, it all come out of sewer, I guess.
No,
We will.
it can't. But some of it can come out of the
Yes,
sewer.
yes. I'll look at that. That won't be in the paper, Lucy.
Yeah.
Moving on to sewer lining proposal.
We have sent out bids for sections of town to be lined. We are looking at Jefferson Street from just a little south of Barnes, all the way to Lakeview. There's one 10-inch section in there, the rest is all 8. Off of Lakeview going up into Worthington Court's a 6-inch line that's in pretty bad shape. And then from Bruton Street to Sneed Street, between Hickman and Allen, behind Senior Center, all the way up past the mayor by Harper's. That will all need to be lined, that's really bad. And then behind Art Allen's house from Barnes right there up to Sneed by the police station is gonna be done. Yeah. And 2 bids were from Vision Sewer, who did our work last year for us, and In Situ Form, who had done it in the past. And I had an alternative, and Vision Sewer went ahead and combined it in with everything else and still come out $70,381. In Situ Form's $84,107.
Were you happy with last year's work they did?
Better than renaming some manholes that caused a little confusion. I gave them maps with the manhole numbers this year to make sure that doesn't happen. Everything was fine. So I would have no problem with Vision Sewer. For that price especially. Because we were gonna have to knock one of those out. I pretty much thought within Situ Form when I first seen their bid, that this way we can do every one of them and still get it cheaper.
This is budgeted, the promotion of that position.
What's one of those,
read my
machines
mind.
cost? What's one of those machines cost?
I wouldn't have any idea. The big difference, if you look, is the mobilization. It's almost $6,000
Yeah.
for in Situ Form to move theirs higher.
Mm-hmm.
The linear feet's pretty much
Yeah.
cheaper. But I would say go with Vision Sewer.
So moved.
A motion to accept the bid from
Business super.
Business Sewer for sewer lining. I hear a second.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. you.
Thank you.
Any other for water and sewer department?
I don't have anything else, I'll see this.
We might mention, I guess, on the sewer part, we are getting really close to running out of room for water. The farmer's ponds are full, he's been jockeying water around, trying to send it everywhere, every little bit we can. Lagoons are filling up, it has not quit raining since basically September. And everybody in the state's wondering what we're gonna do. I was in a meeting last week and they said, well, with your system, you should still be good, right? And now we're struggling too, so.
And farmers can't put them on the field.
No, ground's frozen, so we can't do that, so we probably before spring will be in violation. So we will have to run tests, write a letter why we are, which they know why we are, but follow the procedure. And as soon as we'll run it, have to discharge for as long as we can and then shut it off and hope we got enough room from that point forward to get us through when they either do something or we make the irrigation time.
Mike, we're not alone in this, there's a lot of other, a lot of other people in the same situation, aren't there?
Yeah, we've got big lagoons, that's what saves us, plus farmers to take it. A lot of these places aren't even close to having that. So.
So is the proposed system they're working on, is this gonna be an issue?
I don't believe so, we're getting enough storage and enough pivots, plus our grassland that we bought should relieve all that. You know.
Because like last fall, even though it was raining and wet on grasslands, you can release all year long, except when the ground is frozen. You can do that on farm fields too, but there's times when farmers don't wanna do it because it's gonna interfere with their being in the fields to do stuff. But on a hay field, you know, you just don't take the hay off or whatever, and you go ahead and you can irrigate unless the ground is frozen. So when you see that the weather's turning rainy like this, we can always, you know, get rid of more of it in the fall, and realizing that we're going to have a lot of, our need to capacity over winter regardless.
And if it warms up the next couple days and it starts thawing, we still can use the overland flow for a while, and we're gonna use it. Because right now, that's gonna make us through, buy us a little more time, so.
You can't use overland flow when the ground's frozen also?
Now,
It just
It
runs.
just rolls off the top and rolls right down into the river.
the whole idea is infiltration. If you can't get that, you can't use it.
Any other for water and sewer department?
The smashed culverts on South Central. Says you got with Darren Adams and Phil.
Oh, that was, during the construction, concrete trucks, rock trucks, something, they just pretty much destroyed the culvert that was put in, and we had replaced about 70 feet of it.
Oh, okay.
Was that our expense or their
No.
expense?
Their expense. He's gonna send it to the contractor that most likely did it, so
Okay. Thanks.
it was just muddy when we put it in and stayed muddy, and they just sank right on top of it.
Alrighty.
We ready to move on to the electric department? Activity report, Jeff, anything you wanna highlight on
Not really, I mean, it's pretty standard stuff.
I think with all the tree work that we had done over the summer, that kind of made it so we weren't as, I guess, as susceptible to power outages as we would have been.
Yeah, tree trimming's an important part.
Yeah.
We did a lot of trimming this summer,
Yeah.
a lot more places.
It kind of prevented a lot more.
Considering the winter
down.
we've had, that was probably a very good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot more places out there that need it, but,
Yeah.
and that's true.
that? There was a lot of ice hanging on the line.
When I came to work porch one morning, and I noticed how pretty it was with the sunlight on it.
Oh, yeah.
But those trees were really hanging low.
Yeah.
I didn't hear Jeff use the word pretty good.
You did good getting the power back on the other day.
The radio station had a good time with that light show that was happening about 4:45 Thursday morning.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Any other questions or comments for electric department activity report? Anything for generation and purchase? Anything for distribution? Any other? Thank you. Moving on, Public Works, Public Utilities Director report. Mike, you want to talk about
No, not really. I guess we've had a lot of meetings that we went to as far as the sewer issue. I think we're getting really close on being able to figure out, once we get these flow meters installed, and he was gonna come last week and put those in, that is definitely gonna tell us where we're at, and that's gonna really lead to which direction we go with maybe adding farmers' proposals on what they can do. I think that's gonna be really big to get that in. I'm hoping he's gonna get here this week, get those in. Heather
it?
just
It's nice to have those in last month.
I know. I don't think we're done, so I think we'll have plenty more to come. I guess Heather just brought up the AMI system. I talked to the kid from Palmyra. They've got one of the systems we're looking at. He's been really pleased with it, so I think the girls in the office, a couple of them may go down and talk to how their billing got set up and how smooth that went. And we're gonna have some questions for Jeff. Maybe talk to him about the electric meters on their hookups and stuff that he'll need to get done too, so. We're looking into that pretty close. We're getting, I think, closer to being able to make a decision on which way we're gonna go and make it easier for her to try to figure out what we need to do, getting set up for it. A couple of boring companies I've talked to, things that got hit, we're trying to make sure that we're getting reimbursed. He's got a line on the right court that's laying on top of the ground right now. You can't get in there and do anything until the snow and everything's off. There's no use even trying to get in and dig. It'll just be we'll tear up more than what we would have. So they're gonna come when we do that so they can see it. We know what the problem is. You've been there twice, at least. Telephone got hit, cable.
We patched the old wire once.
Yeah.
And then it faulted somewhere else. They hit it twice. And so then we went right back to running wire through the trees and the meter back and pretty much else to do there.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing I want to bring up is let all you all know how well those departments are working together. They're, when somebody has a problem, they're really running over, see what they can do, and they're doing a good job with that. So I think departments are working together really well right now. Jeff and them did a good job with electric. It was getting kind of hairy there for a bit because he was having more stuff come in than I thought he was going to be able to keep up with at one point with the crew, but he split up and they got it. Clayton took the crew and Jeff took the other, and they got things done. So.
Good job, everybody.
Thank
Thank you, Mike. Item 6, closed session. Anybody want to read us into closed session? You can do it.
I guess I will. Move that we go into closed session. During the meeting, the Board of Aldermen may elect to go into closed session and hold a closed vote, and the purpose of such closed session and closed vote shall be, 1, as provided for under section 610.021, subsection 2, leasing, purchasing, or sale of real estate by public governmental body where public knowledge of the transaction might adversely affect the legal consideration therefore. And two, as provided for under section 610.021 subsection 3 of the revised statutes of Missouri for hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body. And three, for legal actions, causes, or action or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communication between a public governmental body and its representatives and its attorneys, as provided for under section 610.021, subsection 1 of the revised statutes of Missouri.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Lee,
Yes.
Alderman Hudson,
Yes.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four.
Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Borman,
Yes.
Alderman Rogers.
4.
Adjourn to closed session.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Where are you going, Matthew?
You go in.
No,
Oh.
don't leave.
Evening, Your Honor.
You got it?
Okay, item 7, as may arise, any as may arise. Wait,
We do have the legislative conference tomorrow for the NML. We'll be in Capitol Plaza tomorrow and Wednesday. Meeting with legislators and the governor.
we'll miss you around here. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.